Yes guys, welcome back to a brand new video here today and some more F1 League racing. Once again, we are back with AOR and we are here for the Japanese Grand Prix, my favourite race of the entire season. I love this track and I can't wait to get started. Now, real quick guys, if you missed a previous race at Russia, then go check that one out guys. I'll leave a link up in the top right hand corner of your screen. But this race is big for the championship because myself and Paris are locked in a title fight currently, and we are so similar for pace. So any advantage we can get at the moment is absolutely massive for us. And as you can see, we're currently in qualifying, and I'm just trying to see if I can, establish some early pace. But early on, I was struggling for a bit of rhythm. We put the practice in. I felt pretty confident. The car was quick. I had a good setup, and I felt confident myself. But I wasn't quite able to deliver a lap, at least in the early part of qualifying. And you can see here currently at the end of my second lap, we do find a bit of time in the second half of the lap. We move up to P2, Norbert Jakob currently on pole, but I know there's more time in it, and this lap right here was the lap of qualifying, so we're going to see how it goes. Personally, it was one of my best laps of the season. I've been really delivering when it matters. Lately, the very last lap in qualifying, I seem to nail under big pressure, and this was no different. So here we go then, down towards turn 1 and 2. They're very close together, tightly connected. You kind of got to run a bit wide into 1 to really open up turn 2. Important to use the exit curb on the left as we now make our way up towards the S section. Through here, momentum absolutely key. I'm running it in 6th/5th gear, but I managed in this case to hold it all the way through in 6th, and a little downshift through the right-hander, and then up the top of the hill, we absolutely nail it. Perfect first sector, really good stuff, and we are flying and purple so far. Into Degner number 1 and Degner number 2. A little bit slow through there. I overcommitted, ran a bit too deep into the second one, and then as a consequence, I lost about a 10th in terms of corner exit momentum. Up towards the hairpin, I lose a little bit more time there, but we do pull some of it back on the exit, and we're currently still a 10th and a half up. So altogether, we haven't gained anything, but we haven't lost anything through that section. Now making our way into Spoon, getting the gearing absolutely perfect. 1 downshift at a time. We get a really nice exit, and we're now 2.5 tenths up here across the second sector split, and this lap is looking very strong. We've now got one more section to go, 130R into the Casio triangle. Can we nail it on the anchors, hard on the brakes? I could have definitely taken a bit more inside curb there through the right. I didn't quite do that. And then we get a really nice exit, keeping the car to the right, and we improve by 0.3 of a second and storm to P1. And it's a massive lap in qualifying. I'm without my teammate today, so all the pressure is on me, to deliver the points for the team. And both Red Bulls are in the mix. But crucially, at the end of qualifying, we finish P1. Paris, my title rival, gets second place, and the other Red Bull of Warren gets P6. So crucially, in terms of the championship, we are in the best possible position, and also we out-qualified Paris by 2.5 tenths, which is huge. So a really big qualifying margin, really decent lap. The car was absolutely perfect, and I had big confidence going to the race because I put the practice in, I put the work in, and I was ready for all scenarios. So yeah, overall, a decent day at the office, but we're now going to move into the race, and we're going to see how we get on for the Japanese Grand Prix. Okay, here we go then. It's time for the start of the race. Just wrapping up the formation lap, making sure tire temperatures were absolutely perfect. And there's going to be a lot of strategy this race. This is going to be a tricky one because Suzuka is always a challenge. First order of business, though, is to get a nice clean start as we get ready for the 5 red lights, and it's going to be lights out and away we go. And crucially, it's an absolutely perfect start off the line, and actually Failer's going to challenge Paris into the first corner here, which is great news for me. But we hold on to our lead, which is exactly what the doctor ordered. Paris does hold on to second place. Failer drops back down to P3, and so far so good, and the order continues as it was at the start of the race. And the early plan here was to try and set a bit of pace. I was debating whether to use a lot of ERS to pull away, because ERS recovery and charging around here is next to impossible. So you have to be very cautious in regards to how you use and deploy your energy. And in the end, I decided to actually not go flat out from the beginning. I wanted to kind of hold back a little bit, try and manage my tyres, but then I get a bit of a lag tap into the hairpin there from Paris. And it does try to challenge, but I believe he kind of let me go as there was a bit of a lag tap and he didn't want to overtake me there. So shout out and GG to Paris for that one. But crucially, we hold on to the lead. We get on with with our race. I was a little bit flustered with that mistake, you know, that little incident, but eventually we got ahead, screwed on right, stayed nice and cool, and cracked on with it, and we get a safety car already on lap 1. So something's happened further back, and crucially, this is where the race got interesting. So obviously, as you guys know, I've done my research. You know, I watch a lot of league racing videos, and I watched a few days before this Mr. TRL Limitless do the strategy where there was a safety car in the first lap. He pit from the soft tyre onto the hard compound tyre and took them all the way to the end. So we are going to attempt the exact same thing. I was a little bit undecided in terms of, you know, should I pit or stay out, because I was in the lead. I could have just pushed and, you know, extended my lead. But Paris, also worth noting, he stays out. So he's going for the contra strategy. But most cars behind me are going to pit. Again, I haven't got a teammate today, so there's going to be no issues in terms of, you know, stacking or costing each other time, which is good. And we're going to strap on the hard tyres, and what we're going to do, we're going to take it very, very easy and take it very slow straight away, because we need to get these tyres now to the end of the race, which is going to be a massive, massive challenge. So here we go then, rejoining the track. You can see we've got, I believe, one more car in the pits. I think it's S1 Cent, and he's actually going to retire, which was quite surprising, even at the time.
Why would you retire during a safety car? Like, why would you retire?
Exactly, as you can hear there, I was saying, you know, why would you retire to a safety car? You know, you've got a chance, you know, you can do a pit stop, serve whatever damage you have, and you can fight back. But anyway, back onto the action then, and here we go then, safety car restart. Tyres were really in that perfect temperature window. I did a good job of getting my hard tyres switched on, and look at this, on the restart, getting very, very close to the Ferrari here of Zoran, and in hindsight, I wish I'd just used a bit more ERS. I thought I could have maybe gone for the move down the inside here, but I wasn't really fully committed, and that was a bit annoying. I could have definitely, you know, gone for it, but again, on the hard tyres, I kind of second-guessed myself a little bit in terms of, do I want to go side-by-side through turn 1 and turn 2? I've got Failure right behind me, who will overtake if I make an error, so I don't really want to let him go by. He seems quite quick as well, so a bit of, you know, let's say, a bit of, you know, caution entered my mind at that point, and also wanting to save my tyres, but then I quickly realised, just a few corners later, I was a lot quicker. I had great pace, and I'm going to take action here straight away up towards the hairpin. We're going to go for a big old lunge on the brakes down the inside of the Ferrari. I went in a little bit shallow. You know, I could have definitely opened up my line a bit there. There was plenty of room, and I could have actually got a better exit as a consequence, because Zoran actually got back ahead of us. I tried to have a look into Spoon here. We're going to have a try. It's a bit tricky, but we do force the error and make our way through and move up into 8th place. Bit of a risky overtake, but I had to get it done. And again, I'm trying to make progress here, because the more cars we pass early on, especially these guys on the mediums and hard tyres, then we're going to be in a good position. Meanwhile, Failer trying to get by here, and I'm going to try and box him in a little bit and, you know, keep him battling with the Ferrari, and also not use too much of my ERS if possible. And we do a good job of keeping him behind as we make our way through the front chicane. And now we've got Daigoro battling with Hittinen up ahead. Meanwhile, behind, Failer has got the move done, and he's going to pretty much follow us, you know, in this race, as we've got a bit of an action in front of us here. Both of these guys side by side into the first corner, and we're going to use that as an opportunity to really close the gap and try and get amongst it here and put the cat amongst the pigeons as we go through the SSE. You can see Daigoro a bit out of shape, and I'm going to try an audacious move around the outside. It doesn't quite work out. Had a little look, but again, I don't want to absolutely kill my tyres off if possible, so I'm just going to hold back a little bit longer. We might try and go for a move, you know, some other time, and this could be the opportunity coming up now. So into the second Degner, I get a nice exit, and again, just like the previous lap with the Ferrari, I'm going to try and have a look, but to be fair, Daigoro a bit better on the brakes. I kind of showed my hand a bit early as I get another lag tap, this time from Fader behind me into the hairpin. Luckily, no spin and no damage done. But then on lap 6, Daigoro locks up, makes a bit of an error into the second Degner. And I'm going to have a little look again, this time trying to go for the wide entry, makes a bit of an error again. That gives me the cutback, and I'm going to put him under big pressure on the exit of the hairpin. And we're going to be right in his gearbox, heading up towards Spoon. I thought about, you know, trying to go for this move again, but it seems like Daigoro had a bit more race IQ in that sense, and he was able to defend a bit better than the Ferrari was. But eventually, the pressure was too much. He knew I was coming through, and you know, he couldn't shake me off basically. So you can see he's actually showing me, I believe he's letting me go on the inside, but I'm actually going to wait a little bit until after 130R, because I want to get the DRS, which is right here. So now I can go down the inside, and I'll get the benefit of DRS on the pit straight. And there we go, a nice clean move down the inside, and we're now P7, and we can chase after Hittinen, who is the next car up the road. And here we go then, on the back of him. This was an interesting one actually, because I took the decision to drain my entire ERS battery trying to get by. You can see his light is flashing, which means he's got less than 10% ERS left over. And that was kind of like the sign to me saying, okay, you know what, let's be patient, let's wait, buy my time. And you can see I've got about 50% ERS, so I've got about 40% more than him. So his light's already flashing here. And now you're going to see I'm going to use the ERS and the rich mix, get the overspeed, and we're going to go down the inside, out of nowhere, into the chicane. It goes up outside, it's a bit tight out there, onto the curb we go, but crucially, we make it work, and we are going to move up into P6. Failer is also going to try and get in on the action, so I have to make sure I stay ahead of him. But yeah, there we go, job done, and we've made more progress. And that was a nice move actually, from quite far back, timing the ERS use to get that overspeed at the end of the back straight and go for the send into the chicane. But now, lap 10, Tonidza and also Paris in the pit lane, and they're both going to go for the medium tyres, I believe. So they're going to be quicker, and they're going to have much fresher tyres at the end of the race. We're still going to the end here. Failer still tucked in behind us, and he's running pretty well. We've then got Bogin in the pits for Williams as we set another personal best, and we're now going to move up into P3. We've got Brownie and Kryzik a bit further up the road, so we're going to try and close in on those guys. But meanwhile, like I said before, Failer still well and truly on the back of us here, and I can't shake him off. And I'm not going to drain my ERS for the sake of shaking him off. Worth noting now, Warren has made his way to P5, so he's running pretty well in this race. His race pace seems stronger, and he's stuck behind Failer. So at the minute, I'm kind of dragging these guys along. I am in control. I could go quicker if I wanted to, but I kind of want to just drag these guys along. I am trying to manage my tyres as well, very important as we now enter the final 10 laps of the race, and we're gradually closing up to Kryzik and Brownie. And here we go then, lap 17, the final 10 laps of the race. This was the real key point. So I knew these two guys ahead of me were the X factor. So Brownie's going to pit, Kryzik will stay out, but this is my opportunity now to try and break the 1 second window to Failer and Warren behind us. You can see they're about 6 to 8 tenths behind, so we are putting away a little bit here, and I saved up a lot of ERS and fuel, so I knew this was the moment, and I'm going to use Kryzik as my kind of, let's say, I don't know what to call it, really, like a springboard in a way to kind of, break away. You can see the gap is already 9 tenths to Failer and 1.4 seconds to Warren. Kryzik is going to pit. He's going to release me with DRS as we set a brand new personal best and purple sector 3. And we're going to use that momentum, use the fuel, use the ERS, and we're going to try and catapult ourselves into a fastest lap on this one. So you can see the gap to Failer, 1.1, and then 1.7 to Warren. By the end of the lap, we held on crucially to that advantage, and I had loads of ERS. I knew at this stage I had a lot more ERS than both of those guys, and you can see here through the final chicane, I was so quick through here, and I managed to get the gap even higher to 1.2 seconds, and we are going to set a new fastest lap of the Grand Prix on 19 lap old hard compound tyre. So the pace was good, the tyre saving was on point, I was able to push when I needed to, and we've now dropped these guys out of DRS range, which was really important, and the timing of that was perfect. We then cut on to lap 21, the gap to Failer 2.1 seconds, and this is where Warren is going to make the move and take second place away from him, and he's now going to try and hunt me down. He's been stuck behind Failer for a couple of laps now. He's had a chance to save some fuel and ERS, and pretty much Warren now is going to try and catch me up. You can see the gap was coming down a little bit, it came down to about 1.6. I was trying to manage my tyres again because you can see the tyre wear is starting to kick in now, and also manage my fuel, manage my ERS in case I needed any, to defend. And I was in control again, I wasn't panicking. I could have gone quicker if I needed to, but at this stage, I honestly was just in race management mode. I wanted to make sure we got these points because, again, I've got no teammates, so we are going to be struggling to score points today. Paris is now P5 in the other Red Bull on mediums, and he's making good progress, and he's now got to P4, so he's gradually making his way up there as we head into lap 25. Now, at this stage, it was a real turning point for me. You can see the tyre where I knew I was going to end the race very close to puncher territory. Once you go over 75, especially 80%, that is red flag zone. 80% is going to be tyre pop, and you can see Warren is, just under 2 seconds behind, but I'm keeping him at bay crucially and not giving him that gap. But currently 2 laps to go, and I'm on 75%. Now lap 26, the tyre 78, almost 79%. So I know this last lap I'm going to enter puncture territory, at least 82%, 81% maybe. So we need to have a very calm final lap. Warren has got the gap down to 1.4, but again, I'm just managing things here. I don't have to push. I'm going to try and stay off curbs, and we're going to stay on board for the final lap here of the race, because you're going to see what I do to manage the race. So straight away, turn 1 and turn 2, staying off those left-hand side exit curbs, avoiding the entry curb on the left there as well, and just trying to make sure we nurse these tyres to the end, because that's what it's all about, especially that rear left. That's the one that's going to pop. So far, we've avoided every single curb, and also no wheel spin. And now, turn your attention to the top left, Thaler starts to drop away. He gets a puncture on the very last lap of the race, and he is going to drop out of podium contention, therefore giving Paris a podium in this race. As you can see, the delta, he's just dropping back and losing a lot of time. Meanwhile, Warren is closing in, 1.2 to 1.3 seconds. He's trying to put the pressure on. I am being super cautious there. I just didn't even get any wheel spin. I short shifted to a crazy degree to avoid, getting any rear tyre wear. A little tap at the inside curb there, but generally speaking, keeping it nice and tidy, staying off the inside through there, and just being very smooth. Dylan now 1.1 behind. You can see my tyres are pretty much about to burst, and I'm just trying to make sure we don't throw us away. I can tell you Warren actually ends the race with 86% tyre wear on his left wrist. So he took a massive gamble pushing after me, but we managed it. We kept it cool and collected, and we're going to win in Japan.
Yes.
And I was very happy.
Come on, yes.
As you could tell, the reaction on point, and that was a big win. Pole position and the race win by myself. Unfortunately, Florian wasn't here today. Both Red Bulls do get onto the podium though, which was, big for the championship. But generally speaking, one of the drives of the season, managing the tyres, managing the pressure, the timing, of when I decided to pull the trigger and, drop Thaler and Warren outside of 1 second out of the DRS range when trying to overtake Kryzik. That was a really good time for me, really good race management. And at the end of it, you can see the race results. It's going to be a decent day at the office for us, but not perfect. So we pick up 25 points. Warren gets second, Paris on third, Christian Sendel P4 ahead of Brownie, Kryzik, Michael Tanidza, Pablo Futes, Bogin, and Thaler in the end with that puncture, bringing the car home in 10th place. Duza, Hittinen, Skrippy, BenQ, Zoran, Daigoro, Kalachu, S1 Sen, and Zain LP missing out on the points here today. We then look at the driver standings and we extend our lead to Paris to 43 points. It's a big win. Paris only manages P3 today. Surprisingly, the Red Bulls didn't swap around, which I thought they might have done, but they didn't do that. So, 3 points they maybe left on the table there. And with, I believe, 4 races to go, we're looking very good now for, the championship. I just need to make sure we make no mistakes, keep it clean, and damage limitation at this point is exactly what we need to do. So I'm going to keep pushing, at the same time being safe, no need to take any big risks, because we're the first people to break into the 200-point barrier, and we are firmly in control of this championship. We then move into the constructors, and after that race, of course, Red Bull did outscore us, and they draw level on points with us in the constructors championship. So that battle is still going to go down to the wire. I need my teammate Florian to hopefully race in the next one, and hopefully we can score some big points. But overall, a great day at the office, and one of my drives of the season under big pressure. We managed to hold on and pick up the 25 points and the W. So really good race, guys. The next one will be up soon in a couple of days, I believe, for USA, so stay tuned for that. And also I've got some more PSGL content on the way very soon. But if you enjoyed this video, then leave a like, subscribe for more. It really helps me out, guys. And also thank you to my members on the channel as always for supporting. And finally, check out the 2 videos on screen, including the previous race if you have missed it at Russia. And I'll see you guys next time for another race in the AOR League. But until then, guys, take care, and it's goodbye from me.